स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय Ramakrishnaaya te namaha. Dear devotees, please note that the live chat has been enabled for this video. If you have any questions relating to this discourse, please type it in the live chat and I will try to respond to them at the end of today's discourse or next week's discourse. Please only use the live chat if you have a question or doubt. Thank you. Welcome to the study of Vivekachudamani, the Crest-Jewel of Discrimination by Shankaracharya. We were studying the sixth verse of the Vivekachudamani. So I shall now chant the sixth verse. You can repeat it after me. The sixth verse of Vivekachudamani is now displayed on the screen to help you to chant. If you have your own books, that is better. If not, it is displayed on the screen. You can chant the mantra after me. Vivekachudamani, sixth verse. Vadantu shastrani. Vadantu shastrani. Yajantu devan. Yajantu devan. Kurvantu karmani. Kurvantu karmani. Bhajantu devataha. Bhajantu devataha. Atmaikya bodhena. Atmaikya bodhena. Vina vimuktihi. Vina vimuktihi. Na siddhyati. Na siddhyati. Brahma shatantarepi. Brahma shatantarepi. So this is the sixth verse of the Vivekachudamani. Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan. Kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha. Atmaikya bodhena vina vimukti. Atmaikya bodhena vina vimuktihi. Na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi. Let erudite scholars quote all the scriptures. Let gods be invoked through sacrifices. Let elaborate rituals be performed. Let personal gods be propitiated. Yet without the experience of one's identity with the self, that is Atman, your own real nature, Paramatman, there shall be no liberation, eternal freedom, perfect freedom. There shall be no liberation for the individual, that is for you and me or anybody, not even in the lifetime of 100 Brahmas put together. To understand, to make us clear that the goal of, or highest goal of spiritual life or religious life is Atmaikya bodhena. Atmaikya bodha means oneness, identifying yourself with your real nature, that is Atman or Brahman or Parabrahma Swarupa, Paramatman or the Lord, that is consciousness. What in Bhagavad Gita, Gnana Yoga, Lord Krishna is explaining elaborately about the nature, that is your real self of the Atman. So until you identify or realize your identity, It is realization, not the intellectual understanding, but the realization that you are one with Atman. So that is the highest truth. To show that is the highest and the last truth, Shankaracharya is telling, if you are confused in spiritual life that there are any other things like Vadantu Shastrani, quoting the scriptures, memorizing the scriptures, reading it's good reading Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all those things, but you have to realize Ramachandra, you have to realize Lord Krishna, that he is one with you, is in your own heart. So that is the highest goal. The other things, thinking that you will become a scholar and then go on propagating that thing, then you will do a lot of Havan, Homa, without knowing the reality, go on doing a lot of rituals. Kurvantu Karmani, you may do a lot of building hospitals and other things without the goal in life, do not knowing the highest goal. Bhajantu Devataha, you may be doing a lot of satsangs, you may be singing a lot of bhajans without knowing the highest goal, that is what is told Atmaikya Bodha, without knowing that the goal of all these things is realization, experiencing the truth that is you are Atman. So then there is no liberation. You may do all the other things without this idea a lot. Then even if you do that for millions and millions and billions of years, that's what here Brahma Shatantarepi, the life 100 lives of Brahma. Also, you are not going to get perfect freedom. So here you are not going to get perfect freedom, should not be taken seriously. The serious thing here is that the goal of spiritual life is being stressed by this, is your identification with the Lord, with the Paramatman, with yourself, that is Atman. So you are identifying yourself, all the other things will not bring you the identification with Atman. What is that? Becoming a scholar, then doing a lot of Homa, Havan, and doing a lot of Karma Yoga, lot of doing satsangs, bhajans and other things. There are so many bhajan singers, they earn money, they become very popular. There are so many great scholars and pandits who are doing Havan, Puja and other things for hundreds of years. There are so many great scholars who are quoting scriptures, they can memorize, they can tell everything, it is at the tip of their tongue. It's all very good, but that will not give you the highest goal of your life, that is spirituality or your identification or your experience that you are Brahman or Paramatman or Atma Swarupa. Atmaikya Bodha. So that is the goal of life that is being stressed here. So that has to be taken seriously. The other thing that Shankaracharya is telling, that even 100 Brahma's life, if you do all the other things, you are not going to get mukti or perfect freedom. So real mukti is identification, Atmaikya Bodha. That's all. That is to be noted. So the other things are told poetically or metaphorically so that we may grasp the truth or we may take that seriously. So let us go and see what is the deeper meaning of this verse. A disciple who has come to the feet of a master of Vedanta, he wants to realize Vedanta, he is a mumukshu, mokshum he wants liberation. That disciple is expected to already know some of the ritual techniques of the religious world, wherein for purposes of training the animal man, as I have quoted many times, that Swami Vivekananda has told what is religion, a very broad explanation of what is religion. Swami Vivekananda defines it as religion is the process by which a brute is raised unto man and man unto God. So we have freshly come from the animal kingdom, the process of evolution. We have cleared all the single-celled animal, then multi-celled animals, plants. We have gone through all those things in the evolution process of evolution. Then we have finished all the life in the invertebrates. Then we have progressed in the process of evolution to vertebrates. And after so many other lives in the vertebrates, then we have got this human life after 8.4 millions of life. Now, after getting into it, we have that animal tendency deeply ingrained in us. So, to give up that animal tendencies, there are so many methods by which our Shastras are taking us through that to make us a man, human being. That is to raise the brute unto man. So what is a man? Is it just man means we have a human figure that is man? Are we all not human beings then? Yeah, here human beings are making man making, character building. So character building, refinement from the animal, giving up the animal tendencies. That is the animal are instinctive by nature. So we have to give up that instinctive nature and come up to the level of intellectual nature. So animals cannot think, they are not intellectual. So that's why they are instinctive. They are controlled by the hormones. The nature controls them. So now from that instinctive level, the brute level, we raise ourselves to the human level through all these things. The scriptures take us, the initial stages of the first part of the scriptures, they all guide us to make us intellectual man making and character building. So now we have become intellectual beings, human beings. So from animal man to man. And now from this intellectual level, we have to raise ourselves to the divine level, divinity. So brute is raised unto man and man unto God. So this transformation is religion. Now, we have been given so many processes of learning the scriptures and becoming experts in that so that we may become intellectual human being. We will be given the process of Agnihotra, doing this, Homa, Havana, Yaga, Yagna. Then we have to perform the pujas, the Karma Yoga, so many other things for the purification of the mind, raising ourselves from the brutal level for the character building to make ourselves real human beings. So from here we have to go to the next higher level, the divinity. Then we will be given some other processes. There will be so many sadhanas. So we have to do all those sadhanas, taking the help of so many deities, gods and goddesses. So now that is the next part of the Vedas. The first part is the ritualistic part, and then there will be upasanas. So meditation, so many meditations, so many other things will be there. So we will be going on in that process on and on and on. So now we have undergone so many different processes like this, all that Vadantu Shastrani, reading the scriptures and getting expertise in that. Then Yajantu Devan, all the Yaga, Yagna. So different gods and goddesses are propitiated by doing the small letter gods, the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Varuna and other deities are propitiated by Yaga, Yagna, giving them so many other things. You will get so much of power by that. So then Kurvantu Karmani, lot of karma yogas, you have done lot of charities, you have gained lot of punyas, so you have gone to heaven, you have gone to the Pitraloka and so many other things. So all these things you have done, so you will be confused. What is this? What are all those things? So Shankaracharya is telling, finally, the goal, if you want real mukti, then the goal is Atmaikya Bodha. You should know that. What is the highest goal? Then do all the things. Go gradually, you will progress. You will be promoted to the next stage, from there to the next stage. But you should know what is the goal. If you know the goal, that is mukti, perfect freedom, then go on doing all these things. You will progress. The Guru will take you, lead you. So to know what is the real goal, Atmaikya Bodha, to identify yourself with Atman or Paramatman. So Shankaracharya is telling this verse. So we shall see what are the other aspect of this verse, what Shankaracharya wants us to understand by this verse. So various disciplines we have been practicing to become human beings, man making, character building and other things. From there we have to rise to the next stage, that is going to divinity. So we have been advised to do then study of the scriptures, performing of the sacrifices, making offerings, worship of the personal God, and even selfless seva, that is karma yoga. So all those things are done with a view to gain merits and enjoy the life. Then it is kamya karma. You want something in return. Very good. All that thing will purify your mind, you will go forward. Here, the great master or our Shankaracharya is addressing those few who have practiced all these with sincerity and diligence for a number of years, or maybe in the earlier lives too, have come to feel poignantly their limitations, and in their growing dissatisfaction with ritualistic religion. As you go on performing all these ritualistic religions, it becomes some sort of drudgery and monotony. So you get fed up with that. So at that time, to make you understand, don't stay there, come up. Shankaracharya is showing you this is the higher thing. So now you can understand what is the reality. Don't stick on to those things, get attached to those things. Come up, come to the next level. So when we get the dissatisfaction with ritualistic religion, have rushed to the master's feet seeking guidance along with their path for self-redemption. We want perfect freedom. To such a student who has progressed in spiritual life, who want to become divine, the master, that is Shankaracharya or our guru, has to tell the naked truth, the facts. What is that? And all of it, keeping nothing back. So then he tells, this is the reality. Identity with the Paramatman, identity with your own self which is within you. God is nowhere hiding here in the clouds and here and there, sitting with the weapons to punish you or reward you. He's in your own heart. Your real nature is that of the divinity, divine. You are immortal bliss. Amrutasya putraha. Shrunvantu vishve amrutasya putraha aye damani divyani tastuhu. Vedahametam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasaf parastat. You are all children of immortality. You are Parabrahma Swarupa. The Vedanta declares, the Shastra Vedanta declares, Upanishad declares. So that is the naked truth which the Guru will tell you, will guide you when you become ready for that. So now Shankaracharya is taking us to the highest reality, telling us this is the reality. Now there is also another type of aspirant, mumukshu. They are a type of dull seekers who have become so addicted to their method of spiritual practices. See, there is a saying by Swami Vivekananda in the Complete Works. Any good practice, if it is stretched to the extreme ends, any good practices stretched to the extreme ends, when done too much to the extreme ends, will become a positive evil. Why? Because we are just addicted to the externals of those things. Any good practices, if stretched to the extreme ends, will become positive evils. So the Guru will be very careful to bring us out of that situation. That's why Shankaracharya is addressing us, awakening us by this verse. The dull seekers who have become so addicted to their method of spiritual practices that they would rather claim a dreary patience with life and its pain, with their disappointments in sadhana and faith, then they take up a more satisfying and advanced practice, go forward. They want to stick on to the old things, but they are not progressing. This, in fact, an expression of their superstitious fear at leaving the path which they have been practicing for so long. A devotee or an aspirant who has been through kirtana, bhajans, they are very good. But what should be the goal? What should be the attitude? Without the proper attitude, if you go on doing that bhajans and kirtanas, yes, it may give you joy, it may give some purification of mind, puja, japa, without understanding the spirit of it. Dhyana, so many other different types of meditation, developing his devotion for personal God for a number of years, will not dare to drop for a short time even an iota of his daily routine, even if he were to ask to do so by the greatest living masters in the world, just as one gets addicted to a false way of living. So we also get addicted. So one can easily become habituated to whatever is accepted as good way of living. To live in a routine will never yield the secret of living in inspiration. To get habituated to any method is to get into a rut and balk at all progress. We must have the freedom at every moment to change our pattern, to progress, to go forward. We should not stick on to the older things and stay there. We should remember one of the greatest statements of Swami Vivekananda. You should be born in a church. You should not die in a church. Yeah, you can have all the good things, learn all those things. After finishing that, you have to go forward. Progress. You should not get stagnated. There's a saying in India, should we hang ourselves to the banyan tree because my grandfather has planted that banyan tree? No, you have to move forward. You have to progress. You have to go to greater heights. Suppose I like the friends and the teacher of the first grade or the kindergarten. Should I be just like the child crying and not getting interest to promote myself to the second grade or the second standard, even though I have finished everything there, I have passed in good grades? So I don't want to give up that because I am attached to the teacher of the first grade or the kindergarten, or I'm addicted to the or attached to the people, the students, other students there in the classroom. So I don't want to go forward to meet the new friends or new teacher, new things to study. So we get bogged down. That's why Shankaracharya is warning us, be aware of the goal, be aware of the higher thing which you have to achieve. Don't get addicted, don't get attached. So we must have the freedom at every moment to change our pattern of living and seek new method of keeping the mind and intellect occupied in lively warmth of love and chi. Else even our worship becomes mechanical, a drudgery, a monotony, and in the end it will be stultifying. So in this sense, Vedanta is very bold. You may call it even heretical. It doesn't hide anything. It is not afraid of telling the truth. So it looks as if it is heretical and revolutionary. So Vedanta is very bold. It doesn't hide anything. The attitude with which one should do the hearing, Shravana, of the scriptures from the Guru is totally different from the attitude with which one is asked to do the reflection, manana, upon what one has heard again. Again, neither Shravana nor the intellectual freedom of manana is permitted to poison the deep serenity of the thoughtless meditation hours. Thus, a student of Vedanta is taught from the very beginning to be original at every moment and to live ever in the white heat of inspiration, progressing, ever progressing, and reach the goal. No stagnation. at once thrilling, divine, and ennobling. Here, as soon as the student reaches the master, the guru, he is washed clean of all his traditional beliefs. We are bogged down, we are conditioned. Just like one thorn will be helping us to remove the bad thorn which are pricked, we take the needle and remove the thorn which has gone, penetrated into our feet. Then after that, because the thorn which you are used to overcome the other thorn, will you be so grateful with that thorn and place it inside that wound again? No. You'll remove this thorn with the other thorn and throw both of them. Likewise, the sadhanas, the yaga, yagna, other devotional practices and everything which you have practiced all the time for so many years, now they have finished their work. Then you have to give them up and go towards the next, progress forward. We should not be bogged down with those things. So the Vedanta is very bold to tell that the scriptural expertise you have studied, the yaga, yagna, havana, the homa, the pujas, the worship of the gods and goddesses, all those things, yeah, they are very good, you may be performing, but that will not give you liberation or mukti until unless you know the highest goal, that is Atmaikya Mukti. You realize, you experience that you are one with Atman or God or Paramatman. That is the highest goal. So they will decondition. We have been conditioned all these years. That condition is only to help us to give up the older things, the bad things, the animal tendencies. Then after that, this conditioning also has to be given up. So now the Guru will decondition. So this is the process of deconditioning you. That's all. You have been now helped to give up all those things with this conditioning, and now that conditioning is also given up. So here, as soon as the student reaches the master, he is washed clean of all his traditional beliefs. This is indeed a kind of shock therapy. This is indeed a kind of shock therapy by which the student is brutally shaken out of the deep ruts into which he may have fallen and shown new dimension of thought along the straight path. There is a humorous story. There was one student who was learning music for a long time under some other guru. Then he came to a new place. There he wanted to go to the higher stages of music. So he went to the expert guru there and he wanted to learn music under him. Then the music teacher told, this will be the monthly charges. So you can come. So the monthly charges will be something 500 rands or something like that. Now the disciple told, sir, I have already had training for nearly 10 years in the music. So you should reduce the charges. Why should I pay 500 rands? So why can't you make it, he started bargaining, why can't you make it some 400 or 300 rands? Because I've already been trained. Then the Guru told, is it? Oh, you've already been trained in music. So now the charges will be more. Earlier I thought you were fresh, so I could teach you easily. Now that you have had some training earlier, now I have to charge you 1000 rands per month. Then the disciple was shocked. He told, why, sir? Why should I pay so much? Told, now I have to do double duty. What is that, sir? I have to erase all the wrong things you have thought. Rather, you can't tell the wrong things. Okay, you have learned so many things. I have to erase all those things and teach everything new. Now I have double task to do. So that's why the charges will be more. Likewise here, we have been conditioned all these years. Okay, that's all good to go forward, but we have taken up the condition itself as the aim and end, and we are addicted to that. We can't come out of it. So now the shaking, the shock therapy is given. by Sri Shankaracharya to tell that this is the goal. So don't be attached to them. Yeah, they were all good now. Come up higher. Go forward. So you should remember the beautiful story of Sri Ramakrishna in his gospel. So one person, a woodcutter, he met a great guru, a saint. The saint, when he surrendered at the feet and asked for the guidance, then the guru told him, go forward. Then the disciple took it literally. Then went deep into the forest. Earlier he was just a woodcutter. He used to take the axe and cut the wood and get his living. But now when his guru told, the saint told, you have to go forward, he went forward, taking seriously the words of the guru. Then he got the trees of sandalwood. He started cutting that sandalwood and bringing back and selling, and he became rich and rich. Now he thought over. The guru told me, go forward. That's all. He didn't tell me that you should stop at the sandalwood tree or somewhere. So let me still go forward. So he went forward still. Then to his surprise, he found the mine of silver. He was very happy. He loaded them and brought back and started selling. They became much more richer. Then that woodcutter thought, my guru told, go forward. He didn't tell that stop at the silver mines. So let me still go forward. Then he went still forward. Then he was very lucky to find a gold mine. Then he loaded all the gold mines, loaded a lot of gold and went back and sold it, became much, much more richer. He was very happy. Then he thought, my guru told me, go forward. He didn't tell that you should stop at the gold mines. He went forward, still forward. Then he got the diamond mines. Like that, he became still richer and richer. So here, telling this story, Sri Ramakrishna gives us the picture that don't get bogged down. Go forward, progress in spiritual life. Should not get attached to the older systems and then get stuck up there. Yes, you should be renewing yourself, updating yourself, going forward. Just like a doctor who doesn't update himself, a teacher who doesn't update himself and upgrade himself, a lawyer or anybody in the profession, if he doesn't update himself, he gets outdated. Update or get outdated. So in spiritual life too, this is very, very important. You have to get updated. You should go forward. You have to progress. So what is the topmost thing? Brahmaikya Tattva. So the knowledge, the experience of identifying or experiencing your identity with the Atman or Paramatman or become one with the Lord. That is the highest goal. So go forward until then. So that's why Shankaracharya is reminding us about the highest goal. Thus, indeed, a kind of shock therapy by which the student is brutally shaken out of the deep ruts into which he may have fallen and shown new dimension of thought along the straight path. His wrong notions about the religious practices, his confirmed belief in rituals, his blind faith in hearsay, all are shown here as having nothing to do with true and permanent liberation. Learning the Shastras, invoking gods through sacrifices, selfless work, and even devotion to personal God, different gods and goddesses have been denied as having any capacity to give us complete liberation, highest liberation. You may progress in degrees, but what is the highest, the superlative, the mukti, highest freedom, even in the lifetime of 100 Brahmas. So this is not a statement of despair or to frighten you, but it's a way of self-discovery, the secret of which is for the seeker to realize that the self in him is the self in all. We have to identify, we have to experience. It's not just intellectual understanding, it is spiritual experience. You have to have the realization. Religion is realization. It's not for lecturing, it's not for quotations. Even the devil can quote the scriptures. What is the use of it when you don't bring that into life and realize the highest? So religion is realization. Swami Vivekananda tells religion is realization. The summum bonum of religion is be good and do good. First you have to be good. Be good means you have to realize the oneness. So it's a self-discovery. The secret of which is for the seeker to realize that the self in him, the self, the Atman in him, is the self in all, as prescribed here. The method of this discovery, the meaning of the self, and so on are all the theme of this text. So Shankaracharya is waking up to the higher aspect of spirituality, higher aspect of religions. Don't be stuck up, don't get attached. We have to now remember the beautiful example when Shankaracharya is decrying all these rituals, all the other things, lower aspects. It's not decrying. Shankaracharya and the great saints will never decry anything, disturb our faith. He's only telling us don't be there itself, understand, go to the depth of those things. So to understand that in a better way, I will give you the example of Sri Ramakrishna telling about the rituals. Ramakrishna tells, yes, rituals are necessary. What are they like? So he compares all these rituals and other things like that of the coconut. Have you all seen the coconut? So what will be the outer thing? It is a coir. You make a lot of mats and other things with that coir. You open that. If you want to get coconut, what do? You remove that the outer coir. It will be green in color. When you dry up, it may become brown in color. So that coir has to be removed. You can make rope out of it. You can make mat out of it. So many other things. You can make firewood out of it. So many things can be made. So if you remove that, you get the shell, a hard shell, very hard. So that is also quite hard. You can, if you break it, you can use it for so many other purposes. Then after that, if you break and go in, then you get a kernel. The kernel is the one substance which we can use and enjoy it. The highest thing you can get, the highest gain is the kernel inside. That is the exact coconut which you have to get. So that coconut, which is the essence, the kernel inside is protected by the hard shell. Then over that we have this coir, another external feature which is protecting it. Likewise, these rituals, Ramakrishna tells, are like those kaya, the outside kaya, the covering. Remove it. So in the beginning, you'll be doing all these ritualistic actions, thinking they are the essence. Then you'll come to know it is just kaya. You get fed up with that. You'll get monotonous. It is a drudgery. Then you'll go inside. Oh, you think that you have found something. Then it's the hard shell. Then you think that is also not the essence. You have not got the joy. Then you still go penetrate inside. You break it. Then you get the kernel. That is a coconut. Then you enjoy it. Oh, I've got the real thing. So here, as Ramakrishna is telling, the coconut inside is the essence. Shankaracharya is telling Atmaikya Bhuta. Bodha. The knowledge, the experience that you are one with Paramatma Swarupa. You are God yourself. The highest thing. Advaita Tattva. So that is the kernel, the coconut which you have to realize. So don't get bogged down at the shell, at the kaya. So Ramakrishna tells, yes, you cannot deny all these things. They are necessary. Rituals are necessary. Puja, everything is necessary. But they have their place. They are protecting this kernel inside. They are protecting that highest goal inside. In the coconut is being protected by the shell and the kaya. So likewise, here all these things are protective coverings. So Shankaracharya is telling, don't stay at the covering itself. Reach the kernel. Go inside and realize that it is still higher. You'll find more joy, you'll find more freedom. So that is where Shankaracharya is taking us. So we have to understand it properly. Generally, our tendency is we will catch the unwanted thing, and we will start being afraid that Shankaracharya is telling, oh, we will not get liberation for lifetime of Brahma, 100 lifetime of Brahma. It's very, very big. Then you will get into a mode of despair. No, that is not the idea. The idea is turning you towards the kernel, the coconut, which you have to enjoy. Give up this hard shell. All these things, vadantu shastrani yajantu devan, kurvant karmani bhajantu devataha. All those things are good. Okay, they are protecting measures. But the real thing is Atmaikya Bodha, the experience. You have to experience, you have to understand, you have to realize that you are one with the Lord, you are a part of the Lord. Then you have reached real freedom. Then only you can get real freedom. Let people quote scriptures and sacrifice to the gods. Let them do it. It's not wrong. It's very helpful. It will purify your mind. You'll go forward. But all those things you do that with desires. Yeah, God is not the goal. God is only means to an end. You want God only to get something. Just like shopkeeping, business. So that should not be the goal. As you go forward, you should go to Shuddha Bhakti. That Shuddha Bhakti is highest. Shuddha Gnana, Shuddha Bhakti are one and the same, Ramakrishna tells. That highest knowledge is God. All these things should be for God's sake. God for God's sake. Devotion for God's sake. Karma Yoga for God's sake. All the rituals for God's sake. Bhagavad Prityartha. To realize that identity. So that is what Shankaracharya is turning our attitude towards the highest. That's all. Do all those rituals. But know for certain that all these rituals and everything should be directed to the realization of your oneness with identity with Paramatman. Let people quote scriptures. Very good. Learn the scriptures. It's very good. It's purifying. Sacrifice to the gods. It's very good. Homa, Havana. Let them perform rituals, pujas, everything. Worship the deities. Very good. But there is no liberation without the realization of one's identity with the Atman. No, not even the lifetime of 100 Brahmas put together. You may be doing all these things for not 100 years, 1000 years, but 100 years of Brahma's life. It's very, very big. I will just try to tell you after some time, after taking you through to some other aspect of this verse. I will tell what is that lifetime of Brahma. So the Brahma Loka's time is something, the concept of time varies. Many times I am telling the time concept is only limited to our earthly plane of existence here. If you give up the body and go to the another plane, that is the Pitruloka, in this another body, there's a subtle body, there the time changes. Our 1 year or 6 months is 1 day in that Pitruloka. Our another 6 months is 1 night in Pitruloka, in that subtle body, for our ancestors in the Pitruloka. So there 1 day is 365, 1 year to us. That's why if we feed them once in a year during the Pitrupaksha, we are feeding them every day in their Pitruloka. So the time concept is changed. You go to still higher from Pitruloka to the Ikshaloka, Kinnarloka, Nagaloka, Gandharvaloka. Again, the time thing goes on changing and changing and changing. Becomes bigger and bigger. The heaven, it is still higher. But as you go to the highest, that is Brahmaloka, the highest loka, there the time concept is too high, too big. So you may be knowing that Balarama's wife lived in some many thousand years back than the Krishna's period of Dwapara Yuga. So Balarama's wife and her father were living in earlier, maybe many thousand years earlier. So it so happened they had the power to go to Brahmaloka. So the father and daughter have gone to the Brahmaloka. Father is quite old, daughter is very young. They have gone to the Brahmaloka, and there Brahma was playing, hearing the Veena playing of Saraswati, and he was immersed in that. So he didn't notice his coming. So he waited until Brahma finished that. it became something like 5 minutes or 2 minutes of Brahma there. After that, he came out and told, how long are you waiting? 5 minutes. My God, what happened? Now, you finished all the work with Brahma. Now, if you go back, because you have finished already 5 minutes of Brahma's period, so you are, when he went back to the earthly plane, no trace of his kingdom. It has already thousands and thousands of years have passed by. So not even any generation of the people are there. Many thousand years have passed because he stayed for more time in Brahmaloka. Everything is gone. No trace of his kingdom or anything there. Everything is changed. Many thousand years have passed. Just 5 minutes in Brahmaloka. Then now the father who was old, he told, I have already finished my life. There is no problem. I have realized all the goals, some of the smaller goals of my life. So I will go to Tapasya and realize God. So I can go to the forest. But what about my daughter? The daughter is very young. What will happen to her? So then Brahma made arrangement for the daughter to go and get married Balarama, the brother of Krishna, elder brother of Krishna. So the Balarama's wife was that girl. So now she was lost to the whole era. Why era? Some thousands and thousands of years, because they had gone to Brahmaloka. So the concept of Brahmaloka, just 1 minute is many thousands of years. And his one life is 100 years of Brahma. So if 1 minute or 2 minutes is so much of the thing, then what about 100 years of Brahma? So if you go on sticking on to the rituals and thinking that is the goal of life, and you find little puny joy in that and continue with that for that much 100 years of Brahma's life, you will not get liberation. Then how can you get liberation immediately? By identifying, by experiencing the identity with your own Atman, then you can get this moment, this very moment, if you realize that. So that is what Shankaracharya is trying to tell us through this shloka. This verse imprints in our mind a fundamental principle of spiritual life. The need to focus all our energy towards the direct experience of the hidden reality within us and not engage merely in external rituals. In many verses, Shankaracharya sings this note that we ought not to depend too much on external rituals. Yeah, they are necessary, they will help you, but they are not the end all and be all. You have to take their help and go forward. So wherever necessary, you have to even give up and go to the higher practices too. So in many verses, Shankaracharya sings this note, and we ought not to depend too much on external rituals. We don't gain true spiritual height thereby. You go reach up to certain height and bog down. So to go take up some new things and go forward. Rituals have their place. Rituals is good as part of everybody's spiritual life. Spiritual struggle to experience the reality within. It has no meaning as an end in itself. It's in the path, a small portion, that's all. It has no meaning at the end in itself. Every great saint born in India, whether Mirabai, Kabir, Nanak, any other great saints, as they have implored us to become truly spiritual and realize God. So realization is very important, not just the rituals and being happy there. Scholarly attitude, yeah, good scholarship is good, rituals are very good, but you should not get bogged down to them. So realization is important. Realization of God by developing devotion, bhakti and gnana. Rituals has only a provisional value. It cannot be our prime pursuit. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, let people quote scriptures, Vedanta Shastrani, Vadantu Shastrani. In this verse it is told, Vadantu Shastrani. I made the mistake by telling that Vedanta Shastrani, I'm sorry. is Vadantu Shastrani. Let them sacrifice to the gods, Yajantu Devan. Let them perform rituals, Kurvantu Karmani. It is rituals. Karma Yoga will help you to go forward very quickly in spiritual life. But here it is performing rituals. The Kamya Karma, with lot of desires to get so many things, we do so much of karmas. Kurvantu Karmani, and worship various deities. Bhajantu Devataha. But without realizing one's identity with the Atman, there is no liberation, there is no perfect freedom. No, not even in the lifetime of hundreds of Brahmas put together. Atmaikya Bodhena Vinapi Muktirna Siddhyati Brahma Shatantarepi. The supreme knowledge of our identity with the Atman should come. Without it, we shall never attain liberation, even if we perform all the rituals. You complete all the rituals many times for many hundreds as a life, 100 lives of times of Brahma. You just perform them, the rituals. It will not lead you to perfect freedom. We shall never attain liberation even if we perform all these rituals and external worships for hundreds of lives. It is hundreds of lifetime of 100 Brahmas put together. Brahma Shatantarepi. This is the stress. Brahma's 100 years constitute his single lifetime. And a single day of Brahma is equivalent to 432 million human years. Could you grasp it? The exact a single day of Brahma is equivalent to 432 million human years. I'll repeat it again. One single day of Brahma is equal to 432 million human years. Just one day of Brahma. Then what about 1 year of Brahma? Then what about 100 years of Brahma, the whole lifetime of Brahma? So, even if you are just sticking on to these rituals, Homa, Havana, Puja and other things for the Kamya Karma, just to get some enjoyments, puny enjoyments, then so many ritualistic karma, not Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is very higher. If you are just doing these things, then even if you perform all these things for 100 years of Brahma, that is one Brahma's lifetime too, you will not get liberation. 432 million human years is one day of Brahma. Shankaracharya thereby signifies an indefinite length of time. One may engage in rituals throughout such a long span of time, but one would not attain liberation thereby. That supreme experience of the identity of one's self with pure consciousness has to be gained in this body itself. With this goal, if you understand this, what is that important thing that you have to understand? The supreme experience of the identity of oneself with pure consciousness. You are Atman and all the living beings here, men, animal, birds, everything, it is the same Atman which is present in all of them. So then what will you do when you see them? You will perform not just the help or charity to them out of some sort of a sympathy, but then your attitude to be changed, seeing the Atman that is which is present in you. You will see that same Atman in every one of them. Then can you keep quiet? You will perform real Karma Yoga. You will perform the Seva, as Ramakrishna has put in practical Vedanta. With Swami Vivekananda told that it is the highest practical Vedanta which can be easily put into practice. So what was that Sri Ramakrishna gave us? The highest practical Vedanta. Ramakrishna told that it's not daya, it is not compassion, or it is not sympathy. Then what? It is seva. What is that seva? Service. What kind of service? Serving all the living beings seeing Lord Shiva in all of them. So Shiva means here your own Atman, the Lord, the Paramatma Swarupa and all the living beings and serving them. That is the highest. So seeing, identifying yourself with the Atman, you are that Atman, and seeing that Atman in every living being and serving them, that is the highest goal of life. You can't keep quiet. You will start serving them. Earlier you were serving them, you are doing something to them to gain mukti. No, sorry, to gain punya, to gain merit and then go and enjoy heaven and other lokas. But now it is not for enjoyment, it is not for your selfish end. But you see the Atman. You are doing that to the Atman which is within you, seeing them in all of them. So you don't want any reward. You are doing it for the Atman's sake, the Paramatma's sake. Seeing the Lord in every being to Bhagavat Pratyarthe, to please the Lord you are doing. So that is the only thing which will give you real liberation or mukti. So know all these things, know this goal, and then perform every ritual, every work. Then all those work with this attitude will liberate you, will take you to the liberation. So only change of attitude, that Brahmaikya Bodha, Atmaikya Bodha, seeing the Atman in yourself, identifying yourself with the Atman, then with that Bodha, with that knowledge, with that experience, realization, seeing that same Atman in every living being, then you can't keep quiet. Can you keep quiet when you see your own self? The mother sees her own self in the baby. Will she keep quiet? She will take care of the baby at every second. With every pain and every happiness, she is with the baby because she sees her own self there. Likewise, it's more greater than this. When you start seeing the Atman in every living being, that's why the highest dictum of Vedanta is Brahmasatya Jagan Mithya. The other thing is Jiva Brahmaiva Naparaha. If Jiva, all the living beings are Brahma Eva, there is no other God higher than this, then what will you do? When you see your own identification, the Atman which is within you is in everybody, you can't keep quiet. You will start serving them with great care, with great intensity. So that is the highest truth which Shankaracharya is trying to tell us through the Atmaikya Bodha, the knowledge, the experience, the highest experience which you have to gain. And then perform all these activities with that right attitude, then you are not bound, you are liberated, you will get mukti. So we have come to learn a wonderful thing through this teaching. We will continue the same discussion. There is still more time, another 4 minutes for us to continue. I think I can give this time for, we can continue the discussion in the next class as an introduction and go to the next chapter. But now we can dedicate our time to question and answer. If you have any doubt, if you have any question, then I can entertain those questions because we have activated our live chat. So you are asked to type if you have any questions or if you have any doubts, then I can answer it. Otherwise, I will conclude today's discussion with a prayer. We can continue the same discussion. A little of it is left. So I can continue that in the next class and then go to the next verse. That is the 8th verse. Sorry, the 7th verse. Today we have finished the 6th verse. There is little more explanation to be done. So we will continue that in the next class and we will go to the next verse. That is the 7th verse. I think there are no questions. I can see it here. Yeah, there are no questions in the live chat. So I can end the session with a prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So namaskar to all of you. Om Namo Narayanaya. Tomorrow evening at the same time we'll be having the discussion on Bhagavad Gita. Then Thursday and Friday morning, early morning we have the discussion on the great master Sri Ramakrishna or Leela Prasanga. Then Saturday evening we'll be having Bhagavad Gita. Then Sunday, Monday, early in the morning we'll be having the discussion on great master again. Monday evening we have the science of worship at the same time, that's the evening 6 o'clock. Then Tuesday we are coming to the same thing, Vivekachudamani in the evening. So all are welcome for this discussion. Thank you. Namaskar.